everyone, whoever may have stumbled upon this video. As the title say, this is a Krishna book ASMR, and we're still just at the beginning. So please strap yourself down. We have the deliverance of Trnavarta, the whirlwind demon, coming up. So how was your day? I hope it was good. It was a blessed day. And if not, it's alright. No matter how long misery arrives and stays, eventually it'll stop just like how pleasure stopped too. This is how the material world is, but if you're here, that means things are going to look up for you. So, reading chapter 7, the salvation of Trnavarta. This book was written by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Foundacharya of the International Society of Krishna Consciousness. So, Srila Prabhupada's right. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, is always full with 6 opulences, namely complete wealth, complete strength, complete fame, complete knowledge, complete beauty, and complete renunciation. The Lord appears in different complete eternal form of incarnations. The conditioned soul has immense opportunity to hear about the transcendental activity of the Lord in these different incarnations. In the Bhagavad Gita it says, Janma karma chamedivyam. The pastimes and activities of the Lord are not material. They are beyond the material conception, and the conditioned souls can benefit by hearing such uncommon activities. Hearing is an opportunity to associate with the Lord. To hear his activities is to evolve one's transcendental nature. Simply by hearing, the conditioned soul has a natural aptitude to hear something about other conditioned souls in the form of fictions or fan fictions, drama and novel. That inclination to hear something about others may be utilized in hearing the pastimes of the Lord. Then one can immediately evolve his transcendental nature. Krishna's pastimes are not only beautiful, they are also very pleasing to the mind. If someone takes advantage of hearing the pastime of the Lord, the material contamination of dust accumulated in the heart due to long association with material nature can be immediately cleansed. Lord Chaitanya also instructed that simply by hearing the transcendental name of Krishna, one can cleanse the heart of all material contamination. They are different process for self-realization, but this process of devotional service, of which hearing is the most important function, when adopted by any conditioned soul, will automatically cleanse him from the material contamination and enable him to realize his real constitutional position. So, about the whole cleansing process, it's not very easy. Actually, right now where I am, we have a guest speaker by the name of Guru Das. Guru Das is Prabhupada's, one of Prabhupada's first disciples. He went all the way to London. He's still in the movement. He's also a hypnotherapist. He's also dealing with stars and actors to help them get better mentally, or as much as he can help them mentally. Listen, actors, if you see them doing weird shit, things that can harm them, just know that they have no idea who they are anymore. But that's something Guru Das says, because when they act, they just become the character they're playing as. So they're putting mask after mask after mask, and they don't really have time to remove those masks to, return to who they are. So which is why they are depressed and they turn into drugs, they turn into gambling, they turn into so many different sinful things, because before you want to be an actor, and a good actor, think about what you're willing to lose and what you're willing to gain. But anyway, when you're doing this process of hearing and chanting Hare process what you did in the past, the more you pray, the more you surrender to Krishna, and the more you start to love Krishna, because holy crap, he's doing a major cleanup. Like, Krishna is legitimately the the almighty janitor, because he goes into your heart and he cleans all the crap in there that accumulated for lifetimes and lifetimes. And Krishna, Krishna, he asked, just give up this world, just come back to me, don't worry, chill, I got you, man, I got you, babe. And Lord Chaitanya, he doesn't even ask anything. You chant Hare Krishna and he's happy and you start the process. So yeah, that's what it gives us, that way we're so happy all the time. Conditional life is due to the contamination, this contamination only. And as soon as this is cleared up, then naturally the dormant function of the living entity, rendering service to the Lord, awakens. By developing this eternal relationship with the Supreme Lord, one becomes eligible to create friendship with the devotees. Maharaj Parikit recommends from this practical experience that everyone tries to hear about the transcendental pastimes of the Lord. This Krishna treatise is meant for that purpose, and the readers may take advantage of it to attain the ultimate goal of human life. The Lord, out of his causeless mercy, descends to this material world and displays his activities just like an ordinary man. Unfortunately, the impersonalist or atheistic class of men consider Krishna to be an ordinary man like themselves, and so they deride him. This is condemned in the Bhagavad Gita by the Lord himself when he said, Avanjananti Mudha. These mudhas or rascals take Krishna to be an ordinary man and slightly more powerful men. Out of their great misfortune, they cannot accept him as a supreme personality of Godhead. Sometimes such unfortunate persons present themselves as incarnation of Krishna without referring to authorized scriptures. When Krishna grew up a little more, he began. Sorry for the interruption. There's actually two pastimes in one. The first one is, about how Krishna kicked the ghost out. Yeah. So here's it. He began to turn himself backside up. He did not merely lie down on his back. And another function was observed by Yashoda and Nanda Maharaj, Krishna's first birthday. They arranged for Krishna's birthday ceremony, which is still observed by all followers of the Vedic principle. Krishna's birthday ceremony is observed in India by all Hindus, irrespective of different sectarian views. So basically, if somebody wanted to go to this big, huge, crazy, ecstatic party, they just need to go to look up the dates for Janmashtami or Gaur Purnima. So Janmashtami is a day-long celebration that starts the day before, even 2 days before, with preparations. And in Janmashtami, those who can fast all day long, and they don't sleep. They stay up until midnight. It's just like New Year's Eve. So they stay up until midnight, chanting, dancing, thinking about Krishna, reading the Krishna book. In our temple we have plays, we have music, we have so many things going on. It is delightful chaos. And at midnight we have the first we have the Abhishek, in which we bathe Krishna's deity form. And then after that, during the Janmashtami, at midnight, that's when Krishna gives his once a year midnight darshan. And then there are people having beautiful loud kirtan, they're chanting, they are ululating, and the prabhus on the altar. And Mataji sometimes they shower is absolutely covered with metal tin that are filled with different types of sweets and savories, all made by outside people, all given to Krishna on his birthday, and he has gift. And the next day, though, the cleanup is less fun though. Anyway, look up Janmashtami. The next one it would be okay. The next big party is what we have covered and Puja coming up. We also have Diwali. We also have the entire month of Kartik. That's I believe start at the end of October or maybe at the beginning of November. I don't quite remember. And after that, the next big one will be Lord Nityananda's appearance day. And after that is the ever so popular Gora Purnima. Yes, I invite you all to come join us wherever you are in the world. One of our amazingly bombastic festivals. Most of them are free, by the way. Actually, all of them are free, by the way. Wink, wink, hint, hint. Now, Krishna's birthday ceremony. Okay. All the cowherd men and women were invited to participate in the jubilant celebration. A nice band played, and the assembled people enjoyed it. All the learned brahmanas were invited, and he chanted Vedic hymns for the good fortune of Krishna. During the chanting of the Vedic hymns and playing of the band, Krishna was bathed by Mother Yashoda. This bathing ceremony is technically called Abhishek, and even today it is a observance of the temple of Vrindavan on Janmashtami Day, or the birthday anniversary of Lord Krishna. On this occasion, Mother Yashoda arranged to distribute large quantities of grains, and first-class cows decorated with golden ornaments were made ready to be given in charity to the learned, respectable brahmanas. Yashoda took her bath and dressed herself nicely, and taking child Krishna, duly dressed and bathed on her lap, she sat down and to hear the Vedic hymns chanted by the brahmanas. Mother Yashoda was listening to the chanting of the Vedic hymns. The child appeared to be falling asleep, and therefore she very silently laid him down on the bed. Being engaged in receiving all the friends, relatives, and residents in Vrindavan on an holy occasion, she forgot to feed the child milk. Listen, she can be forgiven, because it's a birthday celebration of the son of the king of Gahard. Is huge, so it's okay if she forgot. And also, that's a pastime. So Krishna has a pastime potency. Her name is Purnamasi. She is personified as this old aesthetic lady who lives on the bank of the Yamuna in a small hut, or in a cave at the bottom of Nandishvara hill, where Krishna reside in his father's palace. She is a bit her age is only showed with the crow's feet or the laughing lines on her face. She has a powdery golden complexion. I don't remember she wears white, but I think one place says that she wears saffron. And basically, every morning with Vrinda Devi, another gopi, basically, well, she gave the name to Vrindavan Forest. Technically, she is Vrindavan Forest. They just come out together and they plan Krishna's day. So on that day, that's what Yogamaya Purnamasi Devi decided to happen for Krishna's pleasure. He was crying, being hungry, but Mother Yashoda could not hear him cry because of the various noises. The child, however, became angry because he was hungry, and his mother was not paying attention to him. So he lifted his legs and began to kick his lotus feet, just like an ordinary child. Baby Krishna had been placed underneath the hand-driven cart, and while he was kicking his legs, watch the wheel of the car as it collapsed. Okay, so I don't know if it was said here. Okay, so the children say that, but spoilers, there was a demon in this card. The demon was Chatakasura, and he was cursed by a Brahmana. Well, he was still a very pious person, but he grew too proud of his wealth and his power, and he began to enjoy plenty of observers and young ladies or in a water place, a pond. And Durvasa Muni, yes, I believe it's Durvasa Muni, passed by, saw this debauchery, and being angry at this flaunting of lust and wealth, he cursed this Chatakasura that he would lose his body and live like a ghost. So that's what happened, and then Chatakasura, the blessing that he would be liberated by Krishna's lotus feet when he had his pastime in Vrindavan. So fast forward to 5,000 years ago, during Krishna's birthday, Trnavarta took control of the cart. It was a hill room actually, in which it was piled up with beautiful brass and gold and silver utensils. It was beautifully decorated and usually brought out as a show of wealth. So when Mother Yashoda put Krishna under it, the reason why she didn't remember to feed him was because Krishna didn't want his mom to be killed by the cart demon. So, being in the heart of Yashoda, he induced her to leave him there. And when the cart fell down, well, that's when Krishna kicked his feet. That's what happened afterward. Various kinds of utensils and dishes made of brass and other metals had been piled up in a cart, and he fell down with a great noise. The wheel of the cart separated from the axle, and the spokes of the wheels were all broken and scattered hither and thither. Mother Yashoda and all the gopis, as well as Maharaj Nanda and the cartmen, were astonished as to how the cart could have collapsed by itself. All the men and women assembled for the holy function crowded around it, began to suggest how the cart might have collapsed. No one could ascertain the cause, but some small children who were entrusted to play with baby Krishna informed the crowd that it was due to Krishna striking his feet against the wheel. They assured the crowd that they had seen how it happened with their own eyes, and that they strongly asserted at this point. Some were listening to the statement of the small children, but others said, "How can you believe such statement of these children?" The coward men and women could not understand that the all-powerful personality of Godhead was lying there as a baby, and that he could do anything. Both the possible and impossible were in his power. While the discussion was going on, baby Krishna cried. Without demonstration, Mother Yashoda picked the child up on her lap and called the learned brahmanas to chant holy Vedic hymns to counteract evil spirit. At the same time, she allowed the baby to suck her breast. If a child sucks the mother's breast nicely, it is understood that he is out of all danger. After this, all the stronger coward men put the broken cart in order, and all the scattered things were set up nicely as before. The brahmanas thereafter began to offer oblation to the sacrificial fire with yogurt, butter, kusha grass, and water. They worshipped the Supreme Personality of Godhead for the good fortune of the child. Just a reminder, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the child. The brahmanas who were present at that time were all qualified because they were not envious. They never indulged in untruthfulness. They were never proud. They were non-violent, and they never claimed any false prestige. They were bona fide brahmanas, and there was no reason to think that their blessings would be useless. With firm faith in the qualified brahmanas, Nanda Maharaj took his child on his chanted hymns for the rig, Yajur, and Samavedas. It is said that without being a qualified Brahmanas, one should not read the mantras of the Vedas. Here is the proof that the Brahmanas were qualified with all the Brahmanical symptoms. Also the reason why you have to be a pure Brahmana to be able to read those blessing and mantras and have an effect. Well, you have to understand that many of those mantras can be used to hurt others. So, if you don't qualify for those superpowered sound weapon, then you cannot wield them, at least in theory. Of course, those brahmanas can teach those to lower caste than them, but this is usually when trouble starts. Maharaj Nanda also had full faith in them. Therefore, they were allowed to perform the ritualistic ceremonies by chanting the Vedic mantras. There are many different varieties of sacrifices recommended for different purposes, but the mantras are all to be chanted by qualified brahmanas. And because in this age of Kali, such qualified brahmanas are not available, all Vedic ritualistic sacrifices are prohibited. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has therefore recommended only one kind of sacrifice in this age, namely the Sankirtan Yajna, or chanting the Mahamantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. As the Brahmanas chanted the Vedic hymns and performed the ritualistic ceremonies for the second time, Nanda Maharaj again gave them huge quantities of grains and many cows. All the cows which were given in charities were covered with nice gold embroidered garment, and their horns were bedecked with golden rings. Their hooves were covered with silver plates, and they wore garlands of flowers. He gave so many cows just to the welfare of his wonderful child, and the Brahmanas in return bestowed their welfare blessing, and the blessing offered by the able Brahmanas were never to be baffled. One day, shortly after the ceremony, when Mother Yashoda was patting her baby on her lap, the baby felt too heavy, and being unable to carry him, she unwillingly placed him on the ground. After a while, she began to engage in household affairs. At that time, the servant of Kamsa, known as Trnavarta, as instructed by Kamsa, appeared there in the shape of a whirlwind. They call it a whirlwind, but no, it was not that big. That was a whirlwind, because it would be bigger than either a whirlwind or a tornado. Whichever is scariest to you, that's how Trnavarta took form. He picked the child up on his shoulder and raised a great dust storm all over Vrindavan, covering everyone's eyes. Within a few moments, the whole area of Vrindavan became so densely dark that no one could see himself or anyone else. During this great catastrophe, Mother Yashoda could not see her baby, who had been taken away by the whirlwind, and she began to cry very piteously. She fell down on the ground exactly like a cow who had just lost her calf. When Mother Yashoda was so piteously crying, all the hired women immediately came and began to look for the baby, but they were disappointed they could not find him. The Trnavarta demon went high into the sky with baby Krishna on his shoulder, but the baby assumed such a weight that suddenly he could not go any further, and he had to stop this whirlwind activities. Baby Krishna made himself heavy and began to weigh down the demon, catching hold of his neck. Trnavarta felt the baby to be as heavy as a big mountain, and he tried to get out of his clutch, but he wasn't able to do so, and his eyes popped out of their socket. Crying very fiercely, he fell down these Krishnas on him. Oh dear God. When the gopis saw the demon killed and child Krishna very happily playing on his body, they immediately picked Krishna up with great affection. The guard men and women became very happy to get back their beloved child Krishna. At that time, we began to talk about how wonderful it was that the demon was taken away, that had taken away the child to devour him, but could not do so. Instead, he fell down dead. Some of them supported the situation. This is proper because those who are too sinful die from their sinful reactions, and child Krishna is pious, therefore he is safe from all kind of fearful situations. And we too must have performed great sacrifices in our previous lives, worshipping the Supreme Personality of Godhead, giving great wealth and charity, and acting philanthropically for the general welfare of men. Because of such pious activities, the child is safe from all danger. The gopis assembled there spoke among themselves. What sort of austerities and penance we must have undergone in our previous lives. We must have worshipped the Supreme Personality of Godhead, offered different kinds of sacrifice, made charities, and performed many welfare activities for the public, just as growing banyan and excavating wells. As a result of these pious activities, we have gotten our backward child, even though he was supposed to be dead. Now he has come back to life as his relatives. After observing such wonderful happening, Nanda Maharaj began to think of the word of Vasudev again and again. After this incident, when Yashoda once was nursing her child and patting him with great affection, there streamed a profuse supply of milk from her breast, and when she opened the mouth of the child with her fingers, she suddenly saw the universal manifestation within his mouth. She saw within the mouth of Krishna the whole sky, including the luminaries, stars in all directions, the sun, moon, fire, air, seas, island, mountain, rivers, forest, and all others movable and immovable entities. When Mother Yashoda saw this, her heart began to throb, and she murmured to herself, "How wonderful this is!" She could not express anything, but simply closed her eyes. She was absorbed in wonderful thoughts. Krishna showing the universal form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, even when lying down on the lap of his mother, proved that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is always the Supreme Personality of Godhead, whether he is manifested as a child on the lap of his mother, or as a charioteer in the battlefield of Kurukshetra. The concoction of the impersonalist that one can become God by meditation, by some artificial material activities, is herewith declared false, and this means a whole bunch of video games and a whole bunch of other medias have been defeated. God is always God in any condition or status, and the living entities are always the part and parcel of the Supreme Lord. They can never be equal to the inconceivable supernatural power of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purport of the 7th chapter of Krishna, the salvation of Trnavarta. So next chapter will be the vision of the universal Lord. So thank you for staying with me for so long. I wish you all a blessed night. Rest well, and we'll see you again tomorrow.